What's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about Nick Casario's approach in the draft, whether he will trade up or down. There's been in a recent interview when Nick Casario was asked on the strength of the draft, he said that certain positions I would say have a little more depth than others. I'd rather not get into certain positions, but you can probably lump fifth round prospects to undrafted free agents in the same bucket. And then goes on to say that there's a little more hit and miss in that group, and so that kind of calls into question, makes you wonder, does that mean that Nick Casario is willing to trade his day 3 picks, his late round picks, to move up in the draft to get someone that he likes? Because in the past, the New England philosophy has been trading down in the draft, acquiring picks, and so there's a lot of intrigue here. You don't know what Nick Casario might do, and apparently there's been some teams have been calling the Texans about their pick at 67. So what do you think about Nick Casario? Do you think he'll move up or down in the draft?
Yeah, 100% see him making at least some sort of trade in the draft. I'm not sure if it's going to be trading up or trading down, but I could more so see a trade up. As you were saying about the philosophy about the 5th round picks and 6th round picks and beyond, basically being undrafted free agents. I think it would rather sign undrafted free agents than pick at the 5th or 6th round. I know that New England, they like their undrafted free agents a lot. I think Rex Burkhead was an undrafted free agent, if I'm not mistaken, and a few other important players that they have. So, I mean, that shows that they really view their undrafted free agent class as a very important piece of their team. So, yeah, I could 100% see a trade happen in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's obviously in the past the Texans have gotten Aaron Foster really comes to mind when it comes to undrafted like a rookie who really produced for the team. Obviously, there's no chance that we get someone like Aaron Foster, but if Nick Casario, I really value Nick Casario's evaluating skills and prospects because he spends so much time in that field, and I'm pretty confident that our scouts are pretty good. So I think that I trust Nick Casario to probably get the best value as possible. And so, yeah, I definitely could see him moving up. I mean, there are some late 2nd round guys who could potentially fall in the early 3rd round, but hey, if you like a guy that you really, really want, might as well go get him. And if it only takes a late pick, like a 6th, who maybe move up 3 or 4 spots, then I mean, hey, if you think it's worth it, then I'm not against it. So yeah, that's my take on it. So yeah.
Yeah, and then who's that DN from Houston, the University of Houston? I forgot his name. I think Turner or something like that. Yeah, I remember that he was saying something about how he would love to play for the Houston Texans or something like that. So maybe Nick Casario ends up trading for example, here's a hypothetical trade. Maybe Roby and maybe 2-6 or maybe 1-6 to try and get into a late 2nd round pick, somewhere around there. Maybe early 3rd. See if Turner's still there. Maybe they reunite him in Houston, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, obviously good to get a hometown kid, but yeah, there's a lot of things that could happen in the draft. The draft is only 8 days away, so there's a lot of things that still can happen. So just going over the picks that we currently have, we have a 3rd rounder, pick 67, 4th rounder, pick 109, 5th rounder, a pick 147, another 5th rounder, pick 158, a 6th rounder at 195, another 6th rounder at 203, another 6th rounder at 212, and a 7th rounder at 233. So it's very, very possible that Nick Casario could kind of bunch up those 6 rounders and a 3rd rounder to go maybe in the mid 2nd round or something. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't know if anyone would really do that trade or not, but a lot of things that could happen. I mean, but yeah, I guess we'll still have to see. But considering that the Texans do have some holes, they still need some young players, we did sign a lot of free agents, but most of them are 1-year deals. Who knows if they're going to perform or not? So you're definitely going to need good young talent at any position, really. So I could see the argument for trading down, collect as many picks as possible, and if you think that a guy who you have at 67 will be available at pick 70 or pick 72 or whatever, then I could see the argument for trading down too. I mean, it really depends on how your board kind of fits with the NFL draft, how everything falls into place in that sense.
Another scenario that could be really interesting, I know that the Texans Unfiltered stream talked about it last night. They were saying something like using the 2022 draft picks as like something like then they said like an extra account or something like that about picks. If you know that you're gonna eventually trade Deshaun, and I mean it's pretty likely that's gonna be traded. Maybe you trade maybe like a third if you really really like a player like that's still there. Maybe in the late first, early second, or wherever in the draft. Maybe they go into next year's draft. I mean it's unlikely, but I mean that's a pretty interesting scenario that could happen. They reach into next year's draft picks to trade up for this year.
Yeah, that's definitely a possible thing. And like, I just want to ask you, do you think Nick Casario goes best player available, like when his pick comes, or do you think he'll more so pick by like positional need?
I mean, most of the coaches, they've been saying something about competition. They want a bunch of competition, guys who want to really compete, win their starting job, and just different stuff like that. So I think Nick Casario has the same philosophy. As much as we need positions, like certain positions, I think he's gonna go best player available. I know that we have, like, for example, we have a bunch of running backs. Then we have three capable starting running backs. Maybe there's one in the sixth or the seventh. If he's the best player in that round, maybe it's that guy from Oregon. I think his name is like CJ Verdle. I think he's like a projected 6th or 7th round pick. I mean, it's late in the draft. So, I mean, if he's the best player available, we're going to pick up a guy like that. Compete, maybe he wins the starting job. I mean, not the starting job, like the third down back. Maybe he wins it over Mark Ingram to be the second down back, something like that. So, yeah, I think we go best player available.
Yeah, I definitely think with that statement, I mean, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you have lots of guys that you could use that young talent on the team. It wouldn't hurt in any regard. So, I was just thinking, like, this is the week where lots of like rumors about players or previous injury history does come up. Like some teams try to leak stuff, try to make players fall intentionally, so they could get a chance at them, or kind of manipulate other teams in a sense. And so there is a chance that some like second round prospects or first round prospects do fall a considerable amount. I mean, we see it like every year that some guy who's projected to go in the first round somehow falls so far. So you never really know, and maybe we'll use that to our advantage with our high third round pick.
Yeah, I think it was like in the year 2018, we saw that happen with Justin Reed. With all the news circulating around his brother, the other Reed, Eric Reed, it made him drop his draft stock drop. And then now this year we're seeing it with Justin Fields. I think this morning he confirmed that he has some epilepsy. I think it's like something with your brain. So there's that. That's probably gonna make him drop to maybe even to the Patriots pick. Maybe the Patriots end up picking him up or something like that. You can see a bunch of crazy stuff happen in the draft, and it happens every year. So I mean, it's nothing really to be unexpected. There's always going to be at least 2 to 3 players, maybe even 5, where that happens to.
Yeah, but if anything, I have full faith in Nick Casario. Like this whole free agency like period has really made me trust him. I was a little kind of not sure whether or not coming from the Patriots or not. That was and like the whole East reconnection, but I knew that he did have that great skill set and previous history as a GM. So I had a good feeling about him, but I was kind of like cautiously optimistic. But now I have good I trust Nick Casario to make the right choice is what I'm saying. So yeah, I think that Nick Casario will come out with some studs. If he can hit on at least 1 or 2 guys, then that would be amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, if you hit on at least 1 or 2 guys, I think that will be a major win for us in the draft, considering the picks that we have. Our first pick starts at 67, third round. And we have like 2 or 3 6th-round picks. So if we could hit on at least 1 of them, maybe. So at least be an average player. And then something else that's something to mention. Most players that get their second contract in the league are from second-round picks, third-round picks, and beyond. Most first-round picks only get their first contract, and then either they're out of the NFL, they're hurt, or something like that. So, I mean, it's kind of good for us that we have all those mid-round picks. I think we have 8 total picks or something like that. So most of those guys, at least based on, I guess what the word is like, I guess based on past history, it's proven that most of those guys are going to get their second contract and most likely be on the Houston Texans because it always happens to the team that they're drafted by. So, I mean, that's something else to really, I guess, be interesting or look out for.
Yeah, with that said, that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on whether Nick Casario will move up or down. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank you all for watching. Peace.